Hello. You get a double dose of me this week. I was here yesterday with Corey on Thursday, and today I'm here with the beautiful Helena Collins.
Hello, hello.
Hey, girl. So what happened is she's in from out of town. She just relocated to Dallas. And I had to get her on the show because she's one of our amazing and phenomenal speakers for the Fearless Female Retreat.
Thank you.
I'm like, you know what? I do not want to Skype her in. We have to do this thing face to face.
We gotta do it face to face.
Face to face.
That's the only way to do it.
And so why not do it on a Fearless Friday?
I like that. I like that.
You like that?
I like
Fearless
that.
Friday?
Let's do it on Friday.
So, Helena,
Yes, ma'am.
welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Well, she is a licensed mental health professional,
Yes, I am.
also an author.
Woo!
Yes, Confidence is Key, her new
Yes.
amazing book.
Yes.
She
wow.
just released it in May.
Yeah, May, April.
May.
Finish it up April, May was released. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had the pleasure of giving it to my guests
Yeah.
at Dinner and Dialogue. My
You
first
were the
one.
first sponsor. That's crazy.
It's all about girl power.
Man. That was amazing. That was your first Dinner and Dialogue. You're right.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
And everybody received a
The
Confidence is Key
They
book.
did. Wow.
So what
I didn't
birthed
think
that
about
book?
that.
Where did that book come from?
That book came out of a hard place, actually. That book came, I had a miscarriage in December. Just got out of a real serious relationship. And God was like, you're going to write for 21 days because you've been putting all your confidence in man. And don't you know that your confidence is key? It's in me. So literally, that's how the title of the book came about, Confidence is Key. And I mean, from there, I wrote 4 months. And then I was like, what am I going to do with this? And then the next thing I know, God was like, putting people in my place, showing me what to do. I was not an author, knew nothing about writing books. Like, when I say nothing, Keith, I mean nothing about writing books. And it came about like that.
He always make the most out of the least.
Man, the most out of the
Always.
least. So simple, too. Like, and it was seamless. Like you said, this whole process, it was seamless.
Because God is not a God of chaos and confusion. He's not.
Mm-mm.
And so you know it's divine.
Yeah.
You know it's him.
Yeah.
You know it's decent and in order when everything just flows and goes.
Yeah.
And you know you've never done it before.
Ever.
And you didn't have a roadmap.
I mean, like, when I say no roadmap, I'm talking about, like, wake up and be like, okay, who's going to do the printing for it today? And boom.
Who's going to do the cover?
Yeah, who's going to do the cover? Boom. And, I mean, I'm having dinners with people, like, just random, and they're telling me what to do. Okay, this is what you do next. Go check this out. Go do this, blah, 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 blah. Before you know it, I mean, I met somebody that was like, you know what? Don't do it the Create Space way. He was like, you've done all this. He said, go self-publish. And I was like, what? So now, I mean, you know, once you know it, now I can give it to somebody else. That's the key to do it. Is just now that I know how to be an author, now that I know how to write a book, now I have people coming to me asking me, hey, can you teach me how to do that? Can you show me how to do that? And I'm like, absolutely. I've never done it before, but now I got a roadmap. So like you said, it's different. It's definitely different being an author.
What has impressed me so much with Helena is the fact that she is so in tune with her emotions and her intentions, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're aligned. And I consider that mindset. And today we're going to talk about the fearless mindset.
I like that.
What's going to take you to the next level? And, you know, on the first podcast, we talked about mindset. And mindset is key. When I think about things like marriage, being a success, are we going to stay or are we going to quit? When I think about a diet,
Yeah.
am I going to not eat this Snickers even though it's so good?
Yeah.
It's about the mindset.
Yeah.
It's about literally saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to win it. Saving money.
All that's focused. And it's a commitment, a mindset to be committed towards something. Because if you're not committed to it, it won't work. And so a lot of people, what happens is you put an idea, you have an idea. Like, for example, it could be December and everybody's like, oh, in the new year, I'm going to start working out. Everybody knows by January 31st, who's really going to be working out for the rest of the year. So it's a mindset, and you got to be committed to the mindset. And so that's what mental health is being committed to yourself. The same way you committed to your physical, you commit to your mental.
So let's talk about mental health.
Okay.
Mental health in our community.
Yeah. Ooh.
And I say that because I have a younger sister from my dad.
Okay.
And she is 7 years old. And to me, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a counselor.
Right.
I'm not a mental health expert.
Right.
But I see needs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mental health needs. And when I talk to my father about getting her help, it's like, oh no, she'll grow out of it. She just needs some attention. She just needs more love, this and that. I'm like, no, this baby needs an expert.
Yeah.
Because we send her to school every day, needing something, she can't focus, she can't concentrate. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And when I talked to him, I correlated it to food. If we send a kid to school every single day that's starving, that's hungry,
they can't learn, they can't concentrate.
ABC's what? 1,
Absolutely.
2, 3, 5?
Well, I'm hungry.
Right.
It's not
and so for her, with her, needing some assistance in that area, I feel like she's not going to really reach where she can reach the plateau.
Her full potential. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
She's going to plateau. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Is.
Instead of reaching her full potential.
She is. And what happens is I see a lot of kids with ADHD come in and have to get diagnosed. We typically send to the school a form called a NICU. And basically it's an assessment for the teacher to be able to assess the child and determine if they have, symptoms of ADHD. Some of that is like the impulsivity. A kid can't sit down. They're constantly moving. Fidgeting. Lack of focus. They can't focus in on the assignments. Behavior issues. Some of that as well is the kids are smarter than the curriculum that they're actually being taught. So some kids may need to be GT tested instead of actually tested for ADHD, and GT tested is gifted and talented. So you never know, your little sister could be, gifted and talented, or she could actually just need to see a psychiatrist or a therapist. But I mean, in our community, the first thing we want to say is, oh, God will handle it, don't worry about it.
And he will.
And he will.
That, right? But he also give you the tools and the experts to get it done.
Do you understand?
And for her, she's 7 years old.
Yeah.
She's been in like four to five households already. She's moved from Sacramento to Dallas to Houston. That's a lot of transition.
It is.
That's too much transition for some adults.
Somebody. Do you understand? I'm like somebody that young.
Let me tell you something. When we moved from egg leaves to Pearland, my husband almost had a fit.
He had anxiety.
This is too far.
Yeah.
It's going to take us too long. I'm talking about 25 minutes away.
Right.
And this baby has moved thousands of miles
states
away.
States by state.
Living with different people. Even though they're kin, we're still strangers until we get to know one another. So
and
she
that's
went through a lot. So for me, my first diagnosis wasn't ADHD or ADD. It's like just trauma.
Yeah.
We don't even know what
she's been what she's experienced.
Is she even capable of expressing all of that?
How she feels.
How can she articulate that?
Yeah. And a lot of times that's what I have come through my office, adjustment disorders. And that's what it is. It's an adjustment disorder. A lot of kids have issues coping with transition. And adults and parents don't really see it because we're just like, okay, up and move on to the next thing, especially when they have to leave friends. Kids struggle leaving friends. And so that's a big thing when you're saying, hey, we're going to move state by state, especially military kids. I see a lot of military kids with psychiatric issues because they move around so much and it's so hard to build and foster relationships. So with that, she probably does have trauma and she does probably need to see a specialist. I mean, but play therapy, play is the language of the child.
I keep hearing about this.
That's what I do.
Let's talk about this.
So play therapy is a form of therapy that you use for kids. This form is the same as psychotherapy or anything like that, except you're using toys to actually meet the needs of kids. I do a lot of what's called sand tray therapy. And through sand, we're able to kind of see how the child thinks. Let's say they bury a car under the sand. Typically, they may be burying emotions that they're not ready to talk about. So through play, typically, you're able to really see what's going on with the child. Aggressive play, fun play. You can see if a child is happy, if they're angry, if they're upset, based on how they play. So, I mean, it's really good for a kid because they're like, oh, this is like Toys R Us for me. They come in, they're super excited. Whereas a professional, we're coming in to really see, okay, how can I help this child? What's going on with this kid? What can we do today? So, yeah.
So let's talk about adult mental health.
Let's talk about it.
So let's talk about women in the community. What are some of the things that are prevalent in our community, things that we deal with? We talk about behavior with children.
Right.
But what are some things? I know depression.
Yes, depression is big. Depression is probably, depression is the number one disability worldwide.
Oh, wow.
So we're talking about country to country. everybody's dealing with depression. Woman to woman across countries are dealing with depression. And depression is something that lingers around. You have 3 stages. It's 3 classifications: mild, moderate, and severe. And severe usually ends up in suicidal ideation. That's the one that can actually kill you. So in our community, we're dealing with a lot of anxiety. We taking on a whole lot of responsibilities, trying to be a boss woman, making boss moves.
Yeah.
And we're stressed out. We're tired. We lack self-care. And so now we're always anxious, and we're wondering why we have to drink or find a substitute to cope for the actual anxiety. So anxiety, depression, even trauma. A lot of childhood traumas haven't been met yet that we actually haven't dealt with as women. And so we carry that over. And I always say an abused child becomes an abused woman if she doesn't deal with it. Then she becomes an abused wife. And so it's a cycle that as a society, we lack breaking the stigma, because we feel like, oh, I don't need counseling. Oh, I don't need therapy. What do you mean?
But I noticed there has been a increase in mental health professionals.
Absolutely.
More people are going to school for that.
They are.
What made you major in that field?
It's so interesting you asked me that, because I was thinking about that question. I got asked that like last week. And I started this profession in 2013. When I started it, it wasn't a big deal. It was just like, oh, you're going into counseling. But in the last 5 years, it's significantly and substantially grown. For me, it hits home. My parents, my mother was on drugs. My father was incarcerated and also alcoholic. So I dealt with that early on in life. I have great relationships with my parents now, but it was so close to me. I dealt with anxiety as a child, but I didn't know it was anxiety until I actually got in this profession. So, back then, my grandmother, oh, girl, you'll be all right. Just pray about it. You'll be okay. So she didn't know that I was dealing with anxiety because my father had attachment issues, and then my mother was on drugs. So it was like, you never know what's going on. I had a whole lot of anxiety. So it hits home for me. That's why I got into mental health, because I always wanted to know, what's the cognitive process? How do they think? Why do people make actions like this? So that's what really made me get into it.
Because of your connection.
Yeah. It was close to me. Absolutely.
So in your field, I know you say you work with kids. Do you also work with women and adults?
Yeah, I specialize with kids. I specialize in depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, autism spectrum, and ADHD. Those are the things that I specialize in. But I see adults. I see a lot of adults. I see couples as well. I typically don't like working with couples. No shade to the couples. But baby, couples are a monster. You have to have a different specialty to work with couples. But I love working with women. I love working with men too. But I typically have more women that come in, but more boys come for counseling than girls, and more women than men. Significant numbers.
That's ironic.
Isn't it? Young boys. More boys. Way more boys. My ratio right now, I saw 59 clients last week.
And how many of them were boys?
How many of them boys? I counted. 37.
37 boys.
37 boys.
How many women?
Well, let's do the math. 22.
22. So no girls at all?
No girls.
Oh.
Women and boys.
So absolute.
Yeah, absolute. On my caseload, I may have maybe 10 girls. But girls tend to adjust better. But as women, they struggle with the issues. Now, you see that? Now, as a girl, you cope.
Girls tend to adjust better. But as women, they struggle with the issue.
But as women, we struggle with the issue, which means we haven't dealt with that issue early on enough. So now it's trickled over into our adulthood. Whereas that's why you see men are not really in counseling as adults. Notice that change, because they're in counseling as children. Right.
So they figured out at a young age.
However, we mature faster than men. So that's why I think at a young age, girls adjust to it quicker. Issues aren't a big deal for them at that point.
So what should the women at the Fearless Female Retreat expect from your class? Your class is balance. No. Your class is the basics.
Basics, yes.
It's the basics. Mental health, spiritual health, physical health, total wellness.
Total wellness.
So Tell me some things that you do in regards to physical health.
Okay. So physical health, I'm tired now. I wake up at 4:30 every morning and I catch my workout. I drive to the gym 27 minutes and I start working out. So that's one of the physical things doing is actually physically getting up and doing something, some type of activity, getting outside, going for a walk. You don't have to be a special gym rat. You don't. Just something simple to really get your mind and your body on the same page. Yoga, I love yoga. So I've recently gotten into yoga and it is my new favorite thing simply because it focuses on the mind and the body and it challenges you more than you think it does. So I would say from the physical aspect, that's something to expect is to actually be moving around. So when the ladies are in my class, we're going to be moving around. We're not just going to be sitting down talking.
You're not going to just be sitting pretty.
Nah, we're not going to sit
be moving around. Okay?
So get ready.
Get ready.
You're going to be moving around. It's definitely happening.
So let's talk about spiritual health.
Okay. Spiritual health. So as you know, my book is a 21-day devotional.
Mm-hmm.
So my goal is for me to be able to give each lady an insert out of the book and for each lady to process that. And that's how we're going to move around in the spiritual realm. It's going to be some praying. It's going to be some crying. It's going to be some laughing. But at the end of the day, the Spirit of the Lord is going to be in the room. That's for sure.
Yeah. And mental.
Oh, mental. Let's talk about the mental. So we don't do enough self-care. So we're actually going to be making self-care oils. So I'm going to have all the products there, ladies. So get ready. I'm going to be talking about the benefits of self-care and how to take care of your mental. And you are going to be making some bath salts and some body oils.
So this class is going to be engaging, interactive, and exciting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They're going to get their money's worth. They coming.
I mean, no doubt. I mean,
they
have a killer lineup. They have a killer lineup.
What? Oh, yeah. Oh,
the
yeah.
lineup is real.
Oh, yeah.
Check it out. So we have the amazing Chloe Cook.
Yes.
The beautiful Miss Belinda Baker. The phenomenal Miss Helena Collins.
Thank you.
The creative Candace Easley. The strategic Kyra Hardwick.
Man.
The counting and accountant Cassandra Cummings. Tracy Robinson. The new health enthusiast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be so much.
It's going to be a lot.
And everybody there who's teaching on that topic, they're passionate about that topic.
Absolutely.
Like, that's what they're love. That's what they're about.
Right.
And, you know, when I met you, we just connected.
We did.
We connected. We had mutual friends.
Mm-hmm.
We would travel in the same circles.
Yeah.
Never immediate interaction.
Never.
But it was just something about our just.
It was just that energy and that vibe. Right.
And we decided, let's do
lunch
one day.
We did. Yeah. We did lunch. And it changed the game when we did lunch. I remember you birthing this at lunch. That's crazy.
Just talking about it.
You just talking about it.
And I'm going to say this. I'm talking about it with a complete stranger because that was really our true first real encounter.
It was.
Outside of social media.
We had never.
Social media is great. You know,
right.
Cute girl. You got it. Go get it.
Go get it.
But literally, we went to Morton's.
Unbeknownst.
Chopped it up. Talked for hours like we had been friends for 20 years.
We literally did.
And from then, we was like, okay, yeah. So just.
I know, right?
Stuck with
we had no
now.
choice now. We stuck together. And that's fine. Yeah. I mean, but I think there's something to say when you can get two women together and dynamic things can happen. Atmospheres shift.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And I really believe the universe conspires in moments like that to say, okay, what are we going to do next? Because that's all we talked about is what was coming next.
But in the midst of talking and thinking and strategizing and planning, it wasn't about me. It wasn't about her. It was about us.
It was.
And that's how relationships should be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where even though we're having a conversation about whatever, it wasn't one-sided.
No,
it was two-sided.
It was two-sided, and it was empowering because it was like, I can learn from you, you can learn from me. And here we are, technically strangers, but saying, you know what, sis, I support you. I'm invested in you now. I believe in you. I like what you got going on, and I want to see God's best for your life. I remember for your dinner, I text you and was like, I'm praying. And I mean, it was amazing.
It was, but then you came to the dinner and you spoke such a prophetic word over the dinner to the people, the members at the table. Yeah. And everybody was like, who is she? Who is she?
That about everybody else.
And it's so impressive. I'm always in awe when I meet younger people who are younger than me.
Yeah.
Who I'm like, oh my God.
Right.
in awe, like when I'm awestruck.
Yeah.
And when you speak, it's always just good stuff. It's great stuff. And when you speak, you're always pointing to somebody.
Yeah.
Just your word alone.
Yeah.
You don't have to give any gifts. You don't have to do anything extra. Just your words alone are so powerful. And words are powerful.
Words are containers.
People don't even. Ooh.
Words are containers.
Yeah. People don't understand the power of words. Just saying, you got it. You can do this.
They don't. And I think based on that, like, that's how it flows, because it's like what's in you comes out of you. The Bible says out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So what's in your heart? You know, who are you surrounding yourself around, and what's in their heart? Because it's a heart check that needs to happen. So when you're around pessimistic people, then that's a heart issue. You understand? That's a heart issue. So everything comes back to a heart issue. And that's why less of us and more of him. Really, less of us and more of him. So when I talk, it's just an overflow of what he gives me. And so now I'm able to give it to somebody else. And that's just the way it goes. But now you, Keitha, you are full of energy. You are full of life. When someone comes around you, they have no choice but to smile and no choice but to get on board.
Oh, thanks.
No, I'm serious. You're always supporting somebody else and what they have going on. And that says a lot about your character. Because you didn't really know me. You know,
we were like
I mean?
literally sitting at that table planning your book party, your book release.
You told me, you was like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this, da-da-da. And then you was like, I need 16 books.
Because I believe,
what I'm saying?
You know, for me, support equals action.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, people let us say, are you going to be successful? Or are you going to make it?
Yeah.
But how if you're not supporting me?
Man. And let's talk about that.
You know, those words are great.
Yeah.
But I like when words and actions align.
Yes, that's
when they go together.
Execution.
Yeah. And so for me, when I say, you know, sis, that book is going to be a bestseller, give me 16.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, 16 is not going to make it a bestseller, but I believe in you. Yeah. So here I go. That's what support looks like.
That's what it looks like. Pouring into the vision. And as women, especially African American women, we have to do more of that. We have to do more of supporting our sisters' small businesses so they can become big businesses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We lack that in our community big time. Now, we'll go over to Ching Lee's shop, buy up all her hair, but our sister opened up a shop and we can't support her.
I have the pleasure of visiting 2 really great museums within the last 2 months. I went to the National Civil Rights Museum in Memphis.
Yes.
And I went to the National Museum of African American History and Culture this week in D.C. And I'm bringing this up because as I watched and I toured that museum and I looked at segregation and I looked at towns actually developed by black people.
Yeah.
And there were some benefits of segregation. That's funny, right? We think about segregation as a bad thing.
Right.
And it was. Don't get me wrong. Segregation was a bad thing. But it birthed something good. You know what it birthed?
Tell us.
It birthed us having to support each other. It birthed us having to go to black stores, black hotels.
That's true.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Black restaurants. Every situation has a pro and a con.
I never thought about
Every situation have a pro and a con.
Never thought
and so every time I go to those museums and I go through the segregation portion of it, but I'm like, all these black-owned businesses, that's a good thing. And the fact that we had to support each other.
Yeah.
But when a choice came that we had options, we started to think that white was better or other was better.
Yeah.
And that's not saying that it wasn't.
Sure.
You know, they probably did have a great product. But who's to say that ours wasn't good?
Exactly.
But because we have been dealing with our products for so long, it's like we automatically flee to the other side.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
That's so true. That's so true.
For right now, you're saying we need to support each other. There was a time when we had to. There was a time there was no choice but to.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty.
That's the beauty in it. But I think, too, we don't trust enough. You know, I think that everybody has something that has happened to them, whether they're in business, whether it's home life, personal life, whatever, and they carry that over into how they do everything else.
But why is it? When other cultures, Hispanics, Asians, Indians, what is it within our culture, especially what is it within women in our culture that makes us so catty
That's a really good question because, and I see things from just small kids. I love watching kids because they speak such truth, even so small. But I noticed 2 young girls recently, they were playing, and 2 different races. And one of the young ladies is Caucasian, is African American. The African American girl pulled the Caucasian girl's hair. And I was like, okay, why would you do that? She says, because my hair is not long. And I was like, I wonder what that looks like. And I think it starts at home. I believe it starts at home.
Most things that our children know, most things that people are aware of, most insecurities are taught at home. Yeah. Sometimes you're the fat one, you're the short one, you're the dark one, you're the light one, you're the not so pretty one, you're the dumb one, you're the smart one.
Yeah.
Those things.
Yeah.
Are created at home.
They're created at home, but again, remember, girls adjust, and then later in life they deal. So that's what we're dealing with.
But we say girls adjust.
But are they really?
Right. To be continued.
Right.
I want to do this. I get on this show every week, and I forget to thank the people who make sure this show happens every week.
Yes.
Shout out to the sponsors. Yes.
Absolutely.
Special thanks to the Kyra Company for becoming a title sponsor, for believing in me and going the extra mile.
Yes.
Special thanks to Aria Daffy, State Farm, the Corporate Connection Catering, Keisha's Creation for all her beautiful designs, Tresor Cachet Boutique for always keeping me so cute and fly, even the top I have on today. Also, J.M. Cardi for jumping on board, Elite Wellness Dental. I'm just so excited about these sponsors because it takes money to make dreams happen.
Sure do, and you got some phenomenal sponsors
who just already in.
Hearts
but
full.
Last but not least, and you're gonna meet her, Carla Lane of Lane Staffing.
Yeah, Carla.
You're gonna have opportunity to meet all of the sponsors over the next 26 weeks.
Yeah,
it's jam packed. Sometimes I'm gonna come twice.
She's gonna come twice, y'all.
I gotta get everybody in.
You do gotta get everybody in.
Yes,
and it's a lot of people.
A lot of greatness.
A lot of greatness in one room. Ooh.
So get on board. Yeah. www.thefearlessfemale.org. You don't want to miss it.
You don't.
Meet Helena in person.
Yes, absolutely. Come,
network,
please.
have a good time, have fun, unwind. But also just be elevated.
And be yourself.
Yeah.
There's no judgment in this place.
Be authentic.
Be authentic.
I'm Nikita Ross.
I'm Helena Collins.
Thank you and enjoy this Fearless Friday.
Take care.
Bye.